Okay, something a little bit different today. So no mat, but I have got a chair. So you might want to pause the video, and you don't need that much space around you. You will need some kind of scarf, so something not too stretchy, no specific equipment, a regular chair, and something, a tie or a scarf, something that's quite long that your arms could probably be about that far apart. So we're going to work, once you've paused the video and come back with the stuff, we're going to work today basing ourselves on a chair or around a chair, maybe against a wall, rather than thinking about doing yoga on a mat. So if your current life is anything like mine, I'm spending a lot of time on a computer and going from one Teams call to another, and it's very easy when you've got a lesson, you finish your lesson but you stay sitting in the same place, maybe check your emails, do a little bit of Snapchat, whatever you're doing, but you're not getting up off your chair. So I would advise you to use bits and pieces that we do today to have a little bit of a wriggle around between your Teams calls. So I want to give you some tools basically to look after your bodies whilst you're working remotely. So we'll begin. So sit on the chair, but sit specifically with your feet quite far apart and your hands on your knees, so you know you're beginning some kind of movement practice. You're not just plonked somewhere on your chair. Sitting up nice and tall, hands on your knees, elongate your spine, and we're just going to think about moving the shoulders and the arms and the upper body initially. So keep the feet planted where they are and bring your shoulders up by your ears. Take a breath in, roll them back and breathe out through your mouth. Sigh. Do that a couple more times. Breathe in, roll your shoulders back and breathe out. That's why I'm breathing in. Bring your attention to your breath. Just lets you settle into the awareness of how you are feeling in this moment right now. Immediately I've brought my hands to my chest. So we'll do that. Bring your hands to your sternum, your upper chest, one hand on top of the other, and press down on that part of your body, but resist. So lift your chest into that place. So we know we're sitting nice and tall. I'm often talking about this anti-technology or trying to prevent this slouching that we end up doing. So lift into your hands and then shrug your shoulders up and back down. You might do that with a breath. Notice obviously it's connected. You can feel your collarbones moving. Sometimes it's a bit clunky for me. The top part of your rib cage and your collarbones just moving as you move your shoulders up and down. And then we're going to take the arms up overhead. Take a breath in and breathe out. We're going to do what I call a triangle breath. So you're going to breathe in and breathe out. Keep the breath out of the body whilst you go like this and back in. So you're going to be out for twice as long as in. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Settling yourself a little bit calmer. Okay, so a couple of things we can do with the arms to get our arms and our head and our neck going. Just going to imagine you've got a pencil on the end of your nose and you're going to draw little circles. Start small, just have a look around the room and draw circles. If you've got any clunky bits in your neck, take your time and don't make it too big, a circle. And then go around the other way. So moving just that first bit of your spine, so remembering that your spine is made up of many, many joints. The top of your neck has a lot of mobility. We want to keep it that way. Keep it moving. And then coming back up. Take your hand over the top and find your ear on the opposite side. Without putting too hard, you're just going to come down to a little side angle here, so your neck is stretching down one side. So now because we're on the chair, we've got something to hold on to. So you can grab the underneath of the seat part of your chair and kind of hang against it a little bit. So you're pulling away and that shoulder will stay there and nicely root down away from your ears. Rooted. I can't speak when I'm doing this. And then come back up, but come back up, pressing your hands into your face to draw yourself back up without having to engage your muscles. Then just turn right and left and release that. Do that on the other side. Take this arm up over the top, find your ear, and then slide gently away, but hold on and root yourself down, holding onto the chair so you'll feel that shoulder drop away from your ear and stretch out all the muscles down the side of the neck. Take a nice breath in. Remember, we're sitting up nice and tall. We've got even weight on both sides of our bum. So we're here. Use your fingertips against your cheek and bring yourself back up in line. Already start to move the neck and the shoulders. I'm going to take kind of a bit like a sun salutation, the beginning part. Breathe in, lift up. Breathe out, bring your hands to your chest and just tip forward with a long spine. Bring your hands down towards your toes and then tuck your head in and round your back. And then we're going to round our back as we roll back up. So starting to get the spine moving. We'll do that a couple of times. Breathing in. Bring your hands to your heart as you breathe out and tip forward in a long line. And then bring your hands down in front of your feet or low to the floor and drop your head. Rock your weight back and round through your spine and come back up. One last one. Breathing in. Bring your hands to your heart. See if you can tip forward with a long spine. And once you're there, you can reach down and then drop your focus back so you look underneath your chair. And then roll back up. And let your spine get some motion in it as you come back up. I perhaps should have tied my hair back. We're going to stand up. We'll do another little shoulder stretch. And I like this one, and actually an osteopath shared this with me, but I often do it in my yoga sessions. So find a wall somewhere. Hopefully you can still see me. Place your hands onto the wall, your fingers pointing up, and then walk away from that hand and try and look over this way. So pressing into the hand and leaning back slightly. You'll feel maybe a bit of a tingling sensation under the underside of your arm. You're really stretching out the muscles in your arm. And have a look over your shoulder. Remember in yoga, gaze point, where we're looking is part of it. So we're looking over there, that makes our body go in that direction. You're going to take the opposite now, a different action for your shoulder joint. So you're going to roll back in, and I want you to put your fingers to the side that way, to sort of 3 o'clock, I guess. And roll in, roll in, roll in, roll in, and then use your thumb underneath your elbow. Keep it lifted, and take a stretch here. You're leaning down with your back against the wall, and the head tall, back of your neck long. Take a breath in, and a breath out. We're releasing our shoulder muscles. Bring yourself back, take those fingers back up to 12 o'clock. And again, back to where we were. Look over your shoulder, stretch that out. Come away from the wall carefully, bring that hand down and just roll that shoulder back a couple of times. So you might feel now, if you go along to a mirror, definitely has this effect on me, that the shoulder you've just worked might be a little bit lower than the other one. So you kind of release some muscles, release some tension in this side. So it's important we do it on the other side as well. So, fingers pointing up, have your middle finger at 12 o'clock and walk away with a bit of pressure in your hand and a stretched out arm. And take a couple of breaths. So the muscles across the front of your chest and all the way down your arm and right down into your hand and your wrist. Keep that arm as elongated as you can. Take a breath in. This is a favourite of mine. And then going back in. Take the hand, remember this time it will be going to sort of 9 o'clock if it's the opposite hand. Roll in, roll in, roll in. Keep this elbow high. You can support it with the flat of your hand or your thumb. Keep it up. So now we're opening the shoulder blade at the back of the body. Getting a different stretch in the shoulder. Breath in. Remember it's all about the breathing too. Breath out. Walk away. Fingers back up. Stretching out. Front part of your chest, your shoulder joint, and all the way down your arm. Bring that arm down, and hopefully you're a little bit more even now. I'll have to look back at the video afterwards, see whether my shoulders went back level. Root them down. We're going to come back and sit on the chair again. So we're not going very far. Come back on your chair. So we've prepared our shoulders for eagle pose. We've done this one before if you've done a practice with me. So plant the feet, the arms cross. Remember which arm is on top because we're going to do it on the other side again in a minute. Wrap them around, find the palms, breathe in and lift up. You're going to bend forward a little way
And so your head can rest on your thumbs. My back's rounding. Draw your belly in. And then come back up and reach your fingertips up. And then take your arms wide, so like a cactus shape, I call this. Think of this kind of Western. Fingers waving long, keep your hands awake. Take a breath in and lift up. This is almost like a lat pull down in the gym. Keep your arms nicely rolling back, so your elbows pulled back, shoulder blades coming together as you do this a few times. And then we'll take the other arm on top. Let's see if we remember which one was on top. Not sure that I do. Cross the arms, so the opposite arm is on top. Spiral them around and find your fingertips. Breathe in and lift up. Breathe out. Elbows come into your belly button. Drop your head, round down. You can always wriggle around a bit. This is about releasing tension in your arms and your shoulders and keeping your spine healthy. Draw yourself back up. Separate those arms nice and wide. And then bring them back down. So we can hold on to the base of the chair here, and we're going to use that later as well. So you know, make sure you've got a way of holding onto your chair like this, and hopefully if you've got a chair rather than a stool, you've got a back to your chair. So we're going to twist. Keep your feet flat on the floor and bring the elbow down to your knee and the hand across to the knee, and then the other hand you're going to sort of swim around and see if you can find the back of your chair. So first my knees are still apart, and I'm just going to hold on to the back of the chair and have a look around the corner. Keep looking around the corner so we're in this twisting shape. And then bring your knees all the way close, so your feet are together, your knees are together, and bring your elbow to the outside of your knee, and we've got a twisted kind of chair here. Come back up. Do those on the other side. The feet are wide. Take the elbow to the same knee. Take the hand here and twist. And look around. So your back is long, spine is long. And then bring the feet together. And now the elbow might just go to the outside of this knee. You're still holding onto the back of your chair. And come back up. So starting to move the back and the spine a little bit. So we've twisted it. We're now going to do sort of side bending actions. So feet wide, hands on your knees, tip sideways, and then roll around the front and tip the other way and come back up. And then go the other way. Tip sideways, roll around the front, come to the side, and come back up. I really should have put my hair back. Oh, we're not really doing yoga. I can keep my hair as it was. But no, roll forward. Come to the side. And come up. Side. Over to the front. To the side. And back up. Bit tougher, you're going to take the arm over. So now we've got that really strong stretch from your fingertips down, right down to that hip to keep it on the seat. Come down this time so you can find your ankles to drop down. So gain a bit more range in the body. Hand on here. Handy arm. Swoop your hair out the way. Stretch over. And coming up. Power up the legs. Press the feet into the floor. Bring your hands to your heart. So we can do a goddess pose here. Just lift your bum off. Literally just hover with your bum just off the seat. Power up your legs. Pause there. Roll those knees back. Keep your spine long. Press, 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 press. And then sit back down. Do that one more time. Press into the legs, come up. Press all 10 toes into the floor. Keep breathing, roll your shoulders back. And then sit back. So we can even do core exercises on the chair. And we're just going to literally, I took the dog out this morning and I saw some seagulls. When it's been raining, sometimes they kind of stamp on the floor. So just lift up your knees, press your feet into the floor like you're padding the floor. So just start to work your hip flexors a little bit, moving your legs, get some circulation in the lower half of your body, stamping the feet. And then you're going to take one foot off the floor and literally just circle at the sort of knee joint.
Take that little circle around. And then the other one, put that one down, lift up your knee, so get a bit of work in your hip flexor. And put it down, and then stamp out to the side, and back in, and to the side, and back in, and to the side, and back in, and to the side, and back in. Okay, so we can take some of our kind of poses, shapes, if you like, from yoga and have it a version with the chair supporting us. So we're going to turn sideways on our chair so that the back of the chair is completely at sort of right angles to you. I'm going to swoop the leg that's closest to the front of the chair around the side and around the back and see if I can stretch my leg out the back. Now you can plant your hand and feel really solid here. And you might recognise this shape as being a warrior one. So it helps us to try and square our hips towards that new front where we're looking. You can keep hold of the back of the chair and send this hand up high and take a stretch. And then take that thumb back a little bit and it'll really help to open up the front of your belly. Again, your digestive system suffers if you just sat in a chair and all kind of folded up, doubled up all day. You need to open up the front of your body, not just because of your muscles shortening, but also because that's how you're going to digest your food, is to keep some space in your belly. If you're all crammed up in a little ball, it's not good for your digestion. Stay there. And then just add to that little twist. So this hand's going to now come to the back of the chair. I'm keeping my leg extended at the back, toes down, heel off, and then look behind you. So I'm going to try and hold on to my chair, keep the shoulders away from the ears, and twist this way. Really satisfying stretch. Because stretch that back thigh muscle even more if you grab your foot. Be careful, make sure your chair's stable. So I'm going to bend that back leg and I'm going to see if I can hold on to the top of my foot and pull it in towards my bum. So I get a thigh stretch out a bit as well. Maybe lean your body a little bit forward so don't want you falling off your chair. Stretch out your thigh. And then let that go. We're going to come back to a neutral place, back in the middle. Sit just for a moment. Pad your feet. Step them out. Step them in. And then we'll go to the other side. So turn yourself on your chair. Stack yourself up just as carefully. Even ourselves out, remember? When we do something on one side, we want to make sure we do it on the other because we don't want to end up with a wonky body that walks around in circles. Heel on top. Toes down, clasp that chair, press into the chair, sit up tall with a long spine. Float your head, reach back with your heel, and forward with this knee. Think about your alignment. How does that shape look, do you think? Not that you can go and see in a mirror, but see if you can get that really nice alignment in your body. And then we're going to turn, so this adds a little bit more. Turn. Pause, breathe, elongate everything as much as you can, and then bring yourself back. Thigh stretch, remember, depending on what kind of chair you're on, it might be okay, but be careful that you don't kind of press that thigh muscle too hard into an edge. So just be careful with that. Yeah, pull that heel in so you get to stretch that front thigh. Again, this is opposing the action of sitting when we're kind of folded in our little L shape when we're sitting on a chair the whole time. Please shorten. Bring yourself back into the middle. So another way of opening the legs and the hips. I'm going to pick up this ankle and place it over your knee. You might just swing it around a little bit. So we do this position sometimes sitting or lying on the floor. So we're going to sit up nice and tall with that ankle just crossing, and then you can hold on to the back of the chair or somewhere on the chair and just lean yourself forward. So you might feel that the outer edge of this hip. So it's called your piriformis muscle that sort of knits into your spine here, and your IT band, the outside of your thigh muscle. Yeah, so stretching forward. And then maybe come down. Hands reach down towards your shin maybe, or all the way down towards the floor. You might have to adjust where that is and bring it a little bit higher on your thigh. See whether you might find the floor here. Final breath there. Lift that leg off. A little swing around. And maybe just put it on the chair for a moment. So now we're in kind of a half butterfly or a half cobbler's pose. Just opening that hip on that side. Letting that knee drop out to the side whilst we sit up nice and tall. And then bring that foot back down to the floor. Pat them around. And then we're going to go on the other side. So ankle over your knee. How does this feel? Can you get that shin to be a little bit more horizontal? Not on this side, I can't. Try and drop that knee down, sit up nice and tall, feel where that's having an effect, where you feel like it's stretching or opening the joint. In the hip, perhaps you'll feel it, in these muscles in your knee. Adjust the leg if you need to bring it a little bit closer and start to go forward, hinging at first, maybe holding onto the back of your chair. Try and keep your spine long. Take a big breath in and a breath out. And then descend a little bit more. Oh, this is a bit tighter on me for some reason. Come down. Maybe your hands can come in front of your shin. You can get over a little bit more. Folding in towards your leg. Reaching down with long arms, keeping your spine long. In chair session doesn't mean it's all easy stuff. In some ways you can get quite deep stretches by using chair, by using wall, doing something a little bit different. Bring your foot in, sit up tall, so now you're opening this hip, externally rotating at the hip joint. Think about what's happening in your body when you make these shapes. And then bring that back down. We're going to do one more twist. Again, this is going to stretch out the legs there as well. So you're going to cross the legs like this, like just one knee on top of the other, if that's comfortable. And then you can put your hand on the knee and the hand on the back of the chair and turn. And then maybe you can bring the elbow down and prayer position with the hands and look. So stretching the outer edge of your hip and thigh on that side. And from that place you can perhaps wriggle a little bit forward on your chair and bind your legs into like an eagle pose. So the back of your knee, the back of your foot rather, is on your ankle. And then you can do eagle arms as well. So cross, we did this earlier, reach up. Have a nice tall reaching upward feeling to this version of eagle. Squeezing your inner thighs together. Release the arms. We'll do that on the other side, bind your legs the other way. So first of all, you can wriggle back, cross your legs. Bring yourself so the arm is draped on the outside and use the back of the chair to get the twist. So remember, it might be just one or two of these things that you take away. Rather than thinking you have to do this whole practice, it's just little tools. Like, well, I feel a bit stiff in my back. Oh, what was that I did it in that yoga session? Ah, yeah, I would give that a go. Bring your elbow to the outside of your knee. Bring your prayer position here at the heart and twist. Breathe. And then coming up. And then finally, this version, wriggle to the front of your mat, to your mat. It's not a mat, it's a chair. Bring your foot to the outside, wrapping around the ankle, and then come over. Top arm is the opposite one to the top leg. Lift and breathe in. And sit tall. And notice how your body now has more balance to it. Because you've opened up right side and left side. You've stretched inner thighs, you've stretched outer thighs, you've stretched the fronts of your legs. We're not doing much on the back of the leg, so we're just going to do this. You can just flex the foot, be right on the edge. So a kind of forward fold over one leg, reach down. Now I've got a scarf, so you might be able to put that around your foot. I'll use the scarf again in a minute. Around your foot here. And then you can just wriggle your hands down it. You can't reach down all the way to your toe. But you've got something to anchor onto, so I'll just turn sideways so you can see that too. So we're here. And you're just going to keep this back nice and long and walk your hands down. hold on to this scarf or belt or tie or whatever it is. Pull yourself down, keeping one leg really long. You might be able to get hold of your foot. You might be able to drop your head. So here, stretching the whole back of the leg into the hamstring and the calf, because we're flicking the toes back to make sure you've got that ankle flexed. Come back up, and maybe if you've got hold here, you can just lift it up. And again, we can hold our scarf, sit up tall, and have a little hamstring stretch seated here. And maybe again, tip your head down, draw it up. Release that. Other side. Always remembering to do right and left the same. Sometimes I'm very guilty of rushing the second side, especially when I'm teaching, because there's lots of explaining the first time round, and then the second time round you just kind of do it. We need to spend as long on both sides. And coming forward, holding on. You might need to adjust where your weight is on the chair if it gets uncomfortable at the top of your hamstring there. There's an edge to your chair. Reaching forward, just going to spin around. Kick the furniture. Going down towards the foot. Elongate that spine, maybe round down. And then coming back up, maybe bring this leg with you. Lift it. Hold on to it. Draw it in. Keep your back proud. Maybe drop your head in. So you can feel like you've done a yoga practice, but you're on a chair. You can still feel the benefits of moving, stretching, and also calming the body. So I'm just going to use this little scarf one more time. You might want to do this standing up rather than sitting down, and you don't clonk yourself on the back of the chair. So another way of opening the shoulders, and this is nice. Again, I'm doing the opposite. Start with your fingers quite far apart, quite a big gap between your hands, and then lift the hands overhead. And we can take a tiny little side bend one way and back up. You can do this on your chair. And side bend the other way. And then we're going to see if we can pass the hands. This is why it's going to be wide. I might slip them around and back and all the way down behind the back. And then lift them up and listen to your shoulder blades. I'm keeping them quite far apart. You might, as you've done it a couple of times, be able to bring them a bit closer in. That would be more of a challenge for your shoulder joint, the whole capsule of your shoulders. Just wriggle your fingers in a little bit. Will they still pass down? Just about. Keeping your elbows locked out as you do that. And then we're going to go into what we call cow face pose in yoga using this scarf. And that's where you have one hand up your back basically, but having the scarf means that you don't have to have as much strain on your shoulder if you can't reach your fingers behind your back. This is a good way into it. So I'm going to put my hand behind the back and drape my shoulder, my scarf down. So this shoulder is opening and this elbow is pointing high. I'm just turning around so you can see. And then I'm going to use my scarf to hold on to. And then I can wriggle my fingers a bit closer and I can close that gap bit by bit. I might just go to here. And you're going to try and keep a long spine. Again, you can do this sitting down. Challenging your shoulder joints. But being careful not to overstretch or overextend anything. And then release that and do it on the other side. So if you dangle it down, that's the easiest way. Dangle whatever it is you've got down your back, and then take your hand up with your back of your hand facing the back, and then see if you can find this. So you may find, this is definitely the case for me, you may find that the hand that you write with, or your dominant side, doesn't like going up your back. So on this side I have no problem finding my hands here. On the other side, it's more of a challenge because the shoulder's a bit more restricted. And that might be, for me, it's also due to injury. But it might be to do with an injury, or it might be to do with just the side that you're dominant in, so the side you're writing with often is tighter, it doesn't like to go there. And then release the arms down. So there's a couple of things with a scarf. Should get rid of that now. We're going to stay standing up though, so we're going to have a little balance. We can use the chair just as a little prop to balance us. Again, we don't need much space around us, we're just going to be right next to the chair. You can hold on to the chair and just bring your foot to your ankle and put it back down again. And do that a few times. Find your balance on one leg, coming up, facing down, and then bring your leg a little bit higher. You might be able to hold on to your ankle and bring it all the way up on your thigh. Try to avoid your knee joint. Knee joints are pretty strong. You don't really want to kick into it, so keep your foot either above or below your knee and press here. So we're holding onto the chair so that we can stand up nice and tall. Press down on this side and try and stay nice and tall, so we're thinking about improving our posture or making our spines healthy. If and when you feel solid, you can bring your hands to your heart, spread your toes, keep looking at something directly in front of you, maybe elongate the hands overhead, reach up, separate your ribcage away from your pelvis a little bit more. You bring your fingertips together if you like that, or wide. I prefer them wide because it feels more open in the shoulders, in the throat and the chest. And then bring the hands back down. Again, we're going to take exactly that on the other side. So come around to the other side of your chair and take your time. Don't go straight for it. Take the little steps along the way. How does it feel to balance here on this foot and place it back down again? So weight on 2 feet, weight on 1 foot. We don't need to shift to get properly on that leg. Working mindfully. Stand on that foot, find your balance, well stacked bones, and then your muscles don't need to be fighting. So find the alignment of your bones, find how you can stay there, maybe with a little bit less effort. Pressing the foot into the thigh, especially when you've got slippy trousers on, like mine, they're a little bit slippy. Lift up with socks on. Breathe in and lift and lengthen. And then when you're ready, bring that back down and pad the foot on the floor. So we can do our relaxation with our feet on the chair and our backs on the floor, which is quite nice. It's like legs at wall pose, which is legs on chair pose. So if you've got space just in front of your chair, move it so that you've got some space. You might want to have something more comfortable to lie on. I quite like the firmness of the floor, but if you wanted to have some kind of cushioning, that would be fine. Lie yourself down so your bum is really close to the chair legs and come around and put your feet up. So you're stacking your knees over your hips, and then it makes your spine really nicely elongated out so your belly can drop down and you're losing your lumbar curve a little bit and just releasing the lower back. And once you're there, you can set the arms down, so the back of the hands on the floor, and take a few breaths. This is a really nice relaxing place to be. You might want the knees to fall out a little bit, just let the tension out of the legs so they're just hanging there. However that works for you, how it works with the height of the chair and everything. So for me, for some reason they want to go like that rather than like that. I think it's because it's a round chair. So coming back to our breath. And I introduced this idea earlier on. We called it triangular breath. Of the out breath taking twice as long as the in breath. So let's use that to help us to switch off and relax here. So breathing in through the nose and out through the nose initially. So count it for yourself, but if you take 4 counts to breathe in, try and take 8 counts to breathe out. So that extra bit of dropping into the floor. So breathing in, count in your head to 4. And breathing out, counting your head back down to 8.
Of course, you can stay there as long as you like. And take the opportunity to rest. To really rest and to really switch off. And to switch off your devices just for a little bit of the time. So it might be that you're getting nagged all the time about this. I have teenagers, I'm nagging them all the time because in lockdown it's very tempting to stay online all the time, literally, just to pick up the next thing, because that's how you're contacting your friends, that's how you're doing your work, that's your entertainment, that's this. But try and find some points in the day where you take a moment out. So I'm hoping you use some of those things without the video in front of you, that maybe you'll just remember one or two things that we did today. And so next time you know you've got 5 minutes between Teams calls, you just do a little bit of twisting around on your chair, pick up your legs, stand in goddess, get yourself a little bit stronger. But also, this session really is about releasing the tension in your body and feeling a bit more well put together. And you can sit up tall. Thank you. See you again.